Hey everybody, today we're going to talk about the YP-38. This was added by Gaijin to War Thunder in version 1.101 and is sold as part of the US Pacific Campaign Pack, replacing the previous plane that was in that package, the XP-38G. This package is available in the Gaijin store for about $15, includes some single-player campaign, 850 Golden Eagles, and 15 days of premium account. I wanted to do a review of this aircraft because there's not a lot of information out there about it. On YouTube, there's one review from when it was on the test server, and a second review from when it was live, and a few gameplay videos. The live version review is rather glowing of it, and my personal opinion in regards to this aircraft and the package it comes with is a little bit different, so I thought it was important to post a dissenting opinion to help people decide if this is something they should buy or not. So let's get right to it. We'll start with sort of the superficial. I'm letting the camera pan over the aircraft, and as you can see, it's quite an elegant and attractive aircraft. I've always been partial to the P-38 model ever since I first played a video game at 1942 in the arcade. Vertical scrolling arcade game featured the P-38. That's what I sort of fell in love with the lines of this aircraft at that time. This version differs from the rest of the P-38s in the game, because every other P-38 carries the standard armament of one A&M2 cannon, which is a licensed Hispano, and 4 50 caliber Browning machine guns, all mounted in the nose of the aircraft. This version carries one 37mm cannon, 2 50 cal machine guns, and 2 30 cal machine guns. So quite a different armament, and that makes it unique in the game for that reason, and that alone may make it of interest to certain collectors or to P-38 enthusiasts, but it doesn't come without its shortcomings as well. Most notably, the 37mm cannon carries only 15 rounds of ammunition, meaning that you have to make every shot count. Unfortunately, the gun is not always very reliable, both in accuracy and in effect. It tends to spark a lot, or sometimes you'll see your shots explode on the target multiple times. Other times it'll fire one shot and the target explodes. So it's really inconsistent. The other issue is having 3 different calibers of guns, each with their own ballistics, means that concentrating your fire so that you get that sort of critical mass of damage inflicted within the short period of time that it's in your sights is actually quite difficult. And all too often you're stuck choosing between aiming your cannon carefully or firing your machine guns and trying to hit those. One thing I should point out is that this plane in particular benefits from having separate firing keys for your machine guns from your cannons, allowing you to engage with your machine guns regularly and then selecting the specific times to fire with your cannons instead of having them all down to one key. It allows you to conserve your cannon ammunition for when you really need it. In terms of performance, the YP-38 has the exact same flight characteristics as the P-38E. This is despite having a significantly different armament. So you'll fly this plane exactly the same way that you would fly the P-38E. The only difference will be in ways that you make accommodations for the different armament. So basically what that means is climb, try to get altitude advantage over your opponent, engage in shallow dives, use energy fighting if needed or if warranted, and really avoid turn fighting. You can use head-ons because of your nose-mounted armament, but as always exercise caution. Personally, I find it very difficult to believe the guns and ammunition loadout for each of these 2 planes weighed exactly the same and had the same balance and weight distribution. So it feels a little bit lazy that Gaijin has just cut and pasted the flight characteristics from one plane to the other. Then again, there's probably not a lot of source material to go by, and the differences would probably be minimal anyway. So let's look at how this plane might fit into the game. First of all, we can rule out any real role in naval RB. It doesn't carry ordnance that is useful against ships, and the amount of ammunition that it carries and the gun loadout that it has is just not going to be useful in strafing either. I similarly think this is not a good plane for tank RB because, first of all, P-38s are very good at high altitude, and most engagements in tank RB take place at low and medium altitude, where this plane is not at its best. And also, again, the ammunition and ordnance for this plane are not going to be ideal for that role. It also, again, doesn't carry any ordnance, and you might think that it would be okay for strafing with the 37mm cannon. Unfortunately, that's not so much the case because the ground attack belt for the 37mm, as you can see here, only actually has 50% of its belt as armor piercing. That means that out of the 15 rounds that you have for that 37mm, only 8 of them are armor piercing rounds. And with the rate of fire of the cannon, that's going to be quite a pain to use effectively against ground targets. And there's just so many better options. Just leave this one in the hangar. Don't bring it to ground RB. As for air RB, again, we can go back to what we discussed earlier, that it has the same performance as the P-38E. But the P-38E has superior armament, in my opinion. I don't see any reason to take this over the P-38E other than the fact that it's a premium plane. Now let's compare it to another plane at the same BR 3.0. Here we have the P-39N0, which carries the same cannon, but the P-39 has twice as many rounds for that 37mm cannon. It also has the same number of 50 caliber machine guns, and it has twice as many 7.62mm machine guns. Albeit the 7.62s are wing mounted and not nose mounted, it does have a considerably larger amount of burst firepower. It also has better handling under most circumstances and is a more dynamic plane in most regards. It is certainly an easier plane for a new player to learn to fly. Now I could go on and on comparing to every plane that's at this BR, but the fact is that there are many other choices that are superior to this plane in basically any given role. So that leaves Air Arcade. Now, there actually is one particular situation where this aircraft fits into specifically a 3.0 BR Air Arcade lineup. If you're a player like me that has 10 crew slots, then you've got lots of room for an extra 3.0 plane in your lineup. It's going to replace one of your 2.7s, basically. And so if you're a person who likes P-38s and you would like to have an extra P-38 in your lineup, then that works fine. However, if you're a typical Air Arcade player or a typical War Thunder player that has 5 to 6 crew slots, then this is suddenly back to being a completely unnecessary aircraft because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 aircraft already, which are fighters, which are 3.0 in Air Arcade. That's assuming you don't have the XP-38. Now, if you have that 6th slot, then maybe you could have this as your 6th aircraft. Otherwise, you've still got lots of 2.7s, which are very functional aircraft that are available to you. And in particular, one I don't even have in this lineup is the A-36, which is an indispensable aircraft in Air Arcade. Basically, you've got lots of other options that you can use. So it's really not necessary, but if you have a 6 crew slot, then this could be a plane to add into that to replace one of your 2.7s. It's really not a necessary aircraft, but if you're a player with a lot of crew slots, then it could be useful to you. Assuming you play specifically 3.0 BR Arcade often enough to make use of this vehicle. Who do I recommend this plane in this package for? Because there are a few people. One would be collectors or P-38 enthusiasts. So if you're a collector that just has to have every vehicle in the game or every premium in the game, then this is one for you. But then you didn't have to watch this video to know that because you're going to get it anyway. If you're a P-38 enthusiast specifically, you're used to that flight style, then this is a plane that you may find interesting just because it's got a different armament, something to try to be a little different. If you're an arcade player who likes the P-38s, then this is just another P-38 for your lineup that you can throw in there as part of a large lineup for Air Arcade. More P-38s, if that's something that you like, then there you go. Aside from those two classes of people, there's really only number 3 would be masochists, people who like to take a vehicle that is less than ideal, that where there's other vehicles that could do that role better. Like I said, the plane is not bad. You can do well with it, but I do argue that any situation where you could do well with this, you would do better in a different aircraft. So if you are good with the P-38s, you are good with boom and zoom, you'd still be better off in a P-38E than in this particular plane. I think the guns are more reliable, and the performance is exactly the same, and with no BR advantage. So I really don't think this is a great plane for most players. So basically, I definitely don't think this is good for new players because, as I said, the flight characteristics making a very specific playstyle, which I don't think is one that new players will find intuitive. I think new players will struggle with trying to find the right way to play this plane. It's more of an experienced player's plane. And also the fact that the armament is both unforgiving and often unreliable, as I've pointed out. So even an experienced player may find it frustrating at times when you line up a very good shot and then all you get is hits or sparks, and that can be quite frustrating, especially when it's a situation where if you were in the regular P-38E and you had the other armament, that it would have most likely been a kill. And it never hits that critical mass. You don't have enough 50 cals to create that critical mass of fire. You really have to get it on target along with your 7.62s and all of that for a significant period of time in order to generate the same results. Usually, when that big gun hits, sometimes it just explodes on the surface and does nothing, and other times the enemy just disintegrates. So the package this comes in is $15. The question is that a good deal? I wouldn't say so. And now why is because, as we've already discussed, I don't think the YP-38 is a good aircraft for a beginner. If you're a more experienced player and you're looking at this, then that's a completely different set of arguments. It's not overly expensive like some other vehicles in the game, so there's no real issue there. But for a beginner specifically, is this a good use of their funds? I would say no. Why? This is $15. You get one aircraft, which, as I've stated, is an aircraft that requires a very particular flight style, and it has guns which will be difficult for a beginner to get the hang of, and which are unreliable or unforgiving. For those reasons, I don't think it's a very good plane for a beginner to start with, but then let's look further. Is there other ways a beginner could use their money to greater effect? And let's look at these other aspects. Now, first of all, the U.S. Pacific campaign, I haven't even loaded it. I'm going to be honest. I haven't loaded it. I don't play this game for single player. I don't know how many people actually do. Maybe it's fun. I'm not interested in single player on War Thunder. I'm here, and I think 99% of people who play War Thunder are here for the PvP, for that environment. And I'm not interested, honestly, in that at all. So if that is something that you're really looking for, maybe that's a consideration. But regardless, so let's look specifically at the premium account for 15 days, 850 Eagles, one aircraft. Now, we can compare that with some of these other starter packs for other nations. Like, for example, you have this British one here. This one is $10. It includes premium for 7 days, but you get two vehicles here. You get both a Spitfire and a Crusader. Now, these are both just reskinned vehicles of regular tree ones, but they're both very good vehicles. So as far as that goes, the premiums will help you grind. Whatever, you get a few days of premium. As I've said elsewhere, I don't really feel that giving new users premium is that much of a help. I think it's better for them to spend more time at low tier learning the game than to give them the premium account right away and rush things and get them used to even faster progress. And then they're going to hit a brick wall once that premium one's out and once they're into tier 3, 4, 5, 6. I think the need for premium account comes more when you're in tiers 4, 5, 6 than in tiers 1, 2, 3. Anyway, that's a whole different philosophical issue. This package, though, doesn't come with golden eagles. And you say, well, look, there's no eagles in that. But it's $5 cheaper. If you look at the actual value of those golden eagles, if we even take the 1000 pack at $6.60, you can see that 850 golden eagles is just about exactly that $5 value. So really, you could buy your eagles separately and you'd have the same. So like you're getting two vehicles instead of one, and two vehicles instead of one that is of questionable use, and the Pacific campaign. Now, but let's look specifically at United States Tree. They have their own starter pack, which is only $5. This, again, you get 2 vehicles, you get some Silver Lions, and you get 7 days of premium account. Now, these 2 vehicles are both rank 1, as opposed to the rank 2 YP-38, which means that they're a little bit less useful for grinding out in the long run. But honestly, I don't see the YP-38 as a plane that you're going to grind out your tier 3, 4, 5, and so on with. Whereas I think these vehicles are more useful to a new player who's joining the game, who's trying to learn how to fly, who's trying to learn how to tank. I think these are decent vehicles that will be at an appropriate BR for them, and they're both very forgivable vehicles to use. The P-36 is a turn fighting aircraft. It's at a low BR. Armament's not great, but it's one that you can learn to fly quite easily. Most new players adapt well to the turn fighting play style, and usually that's what they try to do because they're used to arcade style games where you just turn constantly, as opposed to the not necessarily intuitive boom and zoom sort of styles. And then you have a tank as well, which is a decent enough tank for low tier. So, and it still comes with that 7 days of premium. So here you could actually buy this package and the other package for the same price, getting yourself 4 vehicles and the same 15 days of premium, but with just no golden eagles, as this one package with one aircraft. Or you could go with this one, spend the $6.60 on 1,000 eagles, and you'd be better off, in my opinion, than with that YP-38. So that's pretty much it. I really don't think as a package, unless you really want that Pacific campaign, that there's any reason to go with that. Again, unless you're someone who just has to have this plane. I hope this video has been helpful and that it will assist viewers in evaluating whether this is an aircraft or a package that they should buy for themselves. Let's end the video with some footage from one of the better battles I had in this plane. Again, I'll remind you that this is not really the kind of plane that I prefer to fly. I prefer turn fighters firstly, or energy fighters secondly. A pure boom and zoom plane like this is probably my least favored type of plane to fly. So let's see how it went.
Pulled off. He's actually trying to make it to the B-34 now.
I think so. The B-34 is locked on the DB-3 as well. Ooh! I think I set him on fire. I-180's on fire. He's on fire! He's diving to try to put it out.
Great ball of fire.
Yeah. That DB3 pulls some maneuvers, eh? We don't get the ding 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 effect anymore when we're freaking critting them from the fire. I think he put it out because he's still flying. That sucks. And somebody else grabbed it. Fucking hell. Always the way, man. He could have been plummeting to his doom. It's like you do the work up here at high altitude, but that just gives more time for the shit to get stolen by all the guys who've dove right at the start.
Unsung heroes is what we got there.
Yeah. Well, the kill assignment in this game has always been shit. They've tried to sort of fix it a couple of times, but...
Well, there's their team.
Yeah. So at least one unaccounted for, though. You're supposed to stay high. Are you, is it okay? You taking one up with you? Two, maybe? All right, nice. I might be able to pick one of these off.
I have lots of speed on me. But there is a Yak 7 that's got a little more altitude than the rest. You need to watch him. He's coming in now. Coming in hot. Maybe I can at him, actually.
All right.
Depending what he ends up doing.
I'll take him off to the side if he comes at me. Alright, that got him to break.
Snap his flaps off, trying to maneuver with me at high speed.
Yeah, those LAs are coming in now.
Oh, that's not good. Now's not the time. Alright, I gotta speed up and go.
I got one of them. This is where this plane can shine, is if you get that at this high ground. Alright, I see there's that one on you. I'm gonna try to come and pick him off while the for you. Don't turn if you can avoid. But just do regular evasion, but keep fairly straight. That'll keep him from getting closer to you, and hopefully line him up for me. But I'm compressing here. Okay, he's broken. He's turning back to you. Shit! I shouldn't have gotten you to turn. I'm sorry.
I still got distance. Alright.
Ooh-wee.
Jeez, you get close to that ground over there, buddy.
Yep. But I hit him quite a few times, but it just didn't do much.
Curse of the guns.
Mm-hmm. The 450s is so much better. These 7s just... To do anything with 7s, you need a lot of them. I might switch off Universal, try the Tracers, I don't know. The British Tracers used to be pretty good. He's trying to be squirrely? Is that what he's trying? He's trying to be clever?
It's only.
Me too. Most of that was miss, but I did get a couple of hits. He's coming up. Oh, you're not in a position for that. Oh, I should... If I was in any other plane, I would be confident about this right here. So many hits! It's when Gaijin says no.
I tried getting in nice and close.
There we go. I killed him with 7s at the end. Oh my god, yeah. That was just painful.
Yak 9 up ahead.